right, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at this blog post about Hathor, the Egyptian goddess. And specifically, the post talks about her 12 aspects and how those aspects can kind of be a roadmap for us to create a more sustainable future.
Interesting.
Which I think is a fascinating concept, blending mythology with some very practical steps for today. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique take. Basically, the blog frames Hathor as this mother of civilization figure.
Okay.
And suggests that, her ancient wisdom hold a lot of the answers we're looking for a more harmonious relationship with Mother Earth, with nature, with the planet.
Okay, so 12 aspects is a lot to unpack.
It is.
So let's just jump right in. The first one that's listed here is Hathor as the sky goddess. And, we all know that things like astrology and stargazing are having this big resurgence in popularity.
Yeah, for sure.
But what's the deeper connection here? What's this all about?
Well, the blog makes the argument that it goes deeper than just, a casual interest in the cosmos.
Okay.
It's about this, yearning to connect with something bigger than ourselves. It's that awe factor, the feeling that you get when you're under a truly dark night sky.
Right, yeah.
Full of stars. You feel small, but also, connected.
Yeah, you feel small, but also a part of it, right?
Exactly.
It's like remembering our place in this whole grand scheme of things. It's not just our little corner of the world, but it's our place in this whole vast universe.
Yeah, and I think that shift in perspective is really key, right?
Yeah.
Because the blog suggests that it can make us more mindful of our impact on the planet. If we see ourselves as part of this big interconnected web, our actions take on a whole new weight.
Right, because it's not just affecting us, right? It's affecting everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, next up is Hathor as the sacred cow.
Okay.
Now this one, at first glance, seems maybe a little out there.
Yeah.
What's the connection to nature here?
Well, this one's really all about sustenance.
Okay.
But it's not just talking about food. It's going beyond that. The blog kind of links the sacred cow to this idea of sustainable agriculture and conscious eating.
Right. So it's not just saying go vegan or whatever. It's the whole system.
It's the whole thing.
It's like from how we grow our food to how we consume it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about respecting where our food comes from and, acknowledging the impact of our choices, really.
Right. Okay.
Because, the sacred cow represents this interconnectedness between human well-being and the health of the planet.
Right.
If we mistreat the earth, we essentially mistreat ourselves.
That's deep.
It is.
All right, moving on to Hathor as the fertility goddess. I feel like this one is open to a lot of different interpretations.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do they say?
It does touch on the obvious, reproductive health.
Okay.
But then it takes it a step further into more like the realm of ideas and solutions, nurturing creativity, fostering an environment where positive change can happen.
Okay, so not just bringing new life into the world in a literal sense.
Right.
But new ideas, new ways of thinking.
New ways of thinking, yeah.
About the world, about our problems.
Yeah, it's about cultivating a society that, embraces innovation and seeks solutions for a better future.
Yeah.
The blog really emphasizes this idea of seeding the future with our actions today.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, now for something near and dear to my heart, Hathor as the goddess of music.
Okay.
And sacred sound. You know I love music.
Yes, I do. Big music fan.
Big music fan.
So what's going on here?
And so were the ancient Egyptians.
Yeah.
The blog highlights how Hathor, in this aspect, inspires us to recognize music's power for healing, for social change, even for personal growth.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about the impact music has had throughout history.
Huge impact.
Protest songs, healing rituals, bringing people together in celebration. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
I think it taps into something primal, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean,
if it's a drum circle or a symphony, sound can really move us in profound ways.
It can be both unifying, like bringing people together, but also transformative, like really change how we feel about things.
Absolutely.
Okay, shifting gears a little bit.
Right.
We have Hathor as the Queen of Egypt. Now, how does this tie into our theme of harmony with nature?
Well, here the blog really focuses on leadership.
Okay.
And argues that embodying Hathor's, regal Energy means stepping into leadership roles in our communities.
Okay.
Advocating for policies that benefit, both people and the planet.
So it's not just about like ruling over people. It's leading with compassion, with wisdom.
Exactly, yeah. It's about using your influence, however big or small, to make a positive impact.
Okay.
The blog really emphasizes that everyone has the potential to be a leader in their own way.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Hathor as the wealth goddess.
Okay.
This one, I'm really interested to see how they define wealth.
Yeah, it definitely challenges the conventional definition.
Okay.
It goes beyond material possession, right?
Right.
It encompasses this, like, emotional and spiritual richness, a sense of abundance that comes from within.
I like that. It's about recognizing that our worth isn't tied to, like, our bank accounts.
Exactly.
Or our possessions.
Yeah. It's about valuing experiences, relationships, personal growth, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's about being content, like truly content.
Yeah, contentment that isn't dependent on external factors.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like recognizing the wealth that's already present in our lives.
Absolutely. It's about appreciating the simple things.
Yeah.
And finding joy in everyday life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Hathor as the goddess of beauty. Now, how does beauty tie into our connection with nature?
Well, here, the blog really encourages us to look beyond surface appearances, right? It's about recognizing the beauty in nature, in ourselves and others.
Yeah.
Without needing artificial enhancements or excessive consumption.
So it's embracing a more natural, sustainable approach to beauty.
Totally.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's about appreciating the unique beauty of each individual and the planet itself.
Yeah.
Without trying to force it into some preconceived mold.
It's recognizing that true beauty comes from within and radiates outward.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's about embracing, our imperfections.
Yeah.
Celebrating the diversity of life in all its forms.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, on to Hathor as the social goddess.
Okay.
Now, this one, seems pretty straightforward.
It does.
But I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, it might seem simple on the surface, but I think in today's world, it's more relevant than ever.
Okay.
The blog emphasizes building genuine connections, right? Fostering inclusive communities.
Yeah.
And really working towards social justice.
So it's about putting down our phones, engaging with the world around us.
In a way, yeah. I think it's about recognizing that we are social beings and that our well-being is tied to the well-being of others.
Right. Yeah.
And that by working together, we can create a more just and compassionate society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into a slightly more mystical aspect here.
Okay.
Hathor as the Divik goddess. What is that all about?
So this is the aspect that connects Hathor to the natural realms.
Okay.
Like the spirits of nature, the energy of the earth.
Okay.
And the blog suggests that by embracing this aspect, we can cultivate a much deeper connection with the earth and a sense of reverence for all living things.
So it's about seeing the sacredness of nature.
Exactly.
Our interconnectedness with all of creation.
Yeah, seeing ourselves as part of nature, not separate from it.
Yeah.
Respecting the balance of the ecosystem.
Right, and taking responsibility for our impact. It's like, we don't just live on the earth.
Right.
We live with the earth.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
We're a part of it.
It's about fostering a sense of awe and wonder for the natural world. Approaching our interactions with nature from a place of respect.
Okay.
Gratitude.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, now for a slightly heavier topic.
Yeah.
Hathor as the underworld goddess. I'm curious to see how this ties into the overall theme here.
Yeah, this aspect reminds us that, life is cyclical.
Okay.
With both light and shadow, good times and bad. And the blog argues that by embracing this aspect of Hathor, we can learn to kind of navigate the darker parts of life with grace and resilience.
So it's about acknowledging that death and loss are inevitable, but also finding the strength to move through those experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that grief and pain and even anger are totally natural parts of the human experience.
Right. They're going to happen.
They're going to happen.
Yeah.
And the blog encourages us to, embrace the full spectrum of emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, and find healthy ways to process them.
It's about not shying away from the darkness,
Right.
but finding ways to integrate it into our understanding of life.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's about finding meaning and purpose even in the midst of suffering.
Yeah.
And emerging from difficult experiences with, like, greater wisdom and compassion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Hathor as the destructive goddess. This one sounds a little intense.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But remember, destruction can also be a force for positive change.
Yeah, okay.
It's about channeling that destructive energy in a constructive way.
Okay, so it's not just about, like, blowing things up.
No,
Okay.
it's about breaking down what no longer serves us
Okay.
to make way for something new. The blog suggests that this aspect of Hathor calls us to really challenge destructive systems and behaviors,
Okay.
both within ourselves and in the world around us.
So, like, dismantling unsustainable practices, advocating for environmental justice,
Exactly.
those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's about having the courage to confront injustice and fight for a more equitable and sustainable future,
Yeah.
even if it means disrupting the status quo.
Right. It's recognizing that sometimes we need to break things down to build something better.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's about embracing that transformative power of destruction and using it to create a more just and sustainable world.
Okay. And finally, we have Hathor as the Eye of Ra. So what's the significance of this final aspect?
So the Eye of Ra represents vigilance and protection.
Okay.
It's about being aware of the threats to our planet
Mm-hmm.
and taking action to defend it.
So, like, becoming guardians of nature.
Yes.
Standing up for what's right.
Exactly.
Fighting for the well-being of all beings.
Absolutely. It's about using our voices and our actions to protect the Earth for future generations.
Oh.
You know, the blog suggests that embodying this aspect of Hathor means embracing the role of, like, an environmental activist, advocating for sustainable policies, inspiring others to join the movement for change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a big one.
It is a big one.
It is.
Wow, that was a lot. We covered a lot of ground there.
We did.
And it's amazing to me how each of these aspects, even the ones that seem kind of contradictory,
Right.
ultimately all point towards this idea of balance and harmony.
Yeah. It speaks to Hathor's multifaceted nature, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
She embodies both creation and destruction, abundance and loss, joy and sorrow.
Yeah.
It's like she's reminding us that life itself is this tapestry woven together from all these different experiences.
It's like she's saying, embrace it all, you know?
Totally embrace the messiness,
Yeah.
the good, the bad, everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I find really interesting is how this blog is taking these ancient concepts and making them relevant to our lives today.
Absolutely. It's not just like academic study or admiring mythology from afar.
Yeah.
It's about, like, finding ways to apply these principles to our modern challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, of everything that we've discussed here, what resonated most with you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What felt particularly relevant or even, like, actionable?
You know, I keep coming back to Hathor as the Divic goddess.
Okay.
That call to connect with nature.
Yeah.
To, like, see the sacred in all living things, that really spoke to me.
I get that. I mean, in a world that's so, like, urbanized and digitized, it's so easy to lose sight of that connection.
It really is.
But it's so essential, isn't it?
It's essential. It's about more than just, you know, taking a nature walk or appreciating a pretty sunset. It's about recognizing the inherent value and intelligence of nature.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that we are not separate from nature, but a part of it.
Right.
And I think that realization can change everything.
It can. It can change how we see the world. It can change our priorities.
Absolutely.
Our values, our daily choices.
It can lead us to a more sustainable way of life, one that's in harmony with the natural world.
Yeah.
And I think it can also lead to, like, a deeper sense of peace and well-being.
Okay.
Knowing that we're part of something much larger than ourselves.
It's like remembering our place in the web of life, right? Not just as consumers or conquerors, but as, like, participants.
Participants, collaborators, even caretakers.
Yeah,
you know?
I like that.
Yeah.
What about you? Was there a particular aspect that jumped out at you?
Yeah, you know, the one that keeps kind of swirling in my mind is Hathor as the wealth goddess.
Okay.
The way the blog redefines wealth, it's so empowering.
It is, because it's like...
In a world that's obsessed with material possessions.
Yes.
It's a radical act to prioritize emotional and spiritual richness.
It is. It's like reclaiming our power.
Yeah.
Saying, my worth isn't tied to my bank account.
Totally.
Or the things that I own. But,
It's easier said than done, right?
It is easier said than done because we're bombarded with messages
Constant.
that tell us otherwise.
Yeah, it's a constant process.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Like becoming conscious of the messages that we're internalizing.
Right.
The values that we're upholding.
Yeah.
And then making choices that align with a different definition of success.
So maybe it's about asking ourselves, what truly brings me joy?
Yeah.
What makes me feel fulfilled?
Carefully.
And then pursuing those things, even if they don't fit the mold.
Even if they don't fit the mold, yeah.
Of what we're, supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about investing our time and energy in experiences that nourish our souls. Relationships that make us feel loved and connected.
Yeah.
Activities that bring us a sense of purpose.
So it's about recognizing that true wealth is about abundance in all areas of life.
Yes.
Not just financial.
Not just financial.
Right.
It's about cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we already have.
Yeah.
And focusing on building those genuine connections.
Yeah.
Both with ourselves and with others.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's beautifully said. And I think that shift in perspective can be so liberating.
It is.
It's like we step off the hamster wheel of just constantly chasing
more.
And we choose a different path, one that's more aligned with our values and who we really are.
And that's a powerful act.
It is.
It's a choice to define success on our own terms.
Yeah.
To create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling, regardless of what society tells us.
So if Hathor were to visit us today, what message do you think she would share? What wisdom would she give us to help us navigate?
That's a good question.
This complex world.
I think she would remind us of our inherent power.
Okay.
Our capacity for love, for compassion, for creation.
Okay. But also our ability to dismantle what no longer serves us.
Yes. To challenge injustice.
To fight for what's right.
To
embrace that necessary destruction that paves the way for new growth.
Exactly. She would remind us that we are not passive bystanders, but active participants in the unfolding story of humanity.
And that each of us has a unique role to play in creating a more harmonious and sustainable future.
Absolutely. I think she would encourage us to step into our power, to embrace our full potential, to use our gifts to make a positive impact on the world.
And to do it with joy, with love, with a deep reverence for all of life.
Beautifully said.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is.
It's a beautiful thought.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It is. It is. So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into Hathor's wisdom, what is one key takeaway that you hope our listeners will carry with them from this conversation?
I think it's the reminder that we're not alone. We are part of this vast, interconnected web of life, woven together by these threads of, ancient wisdom and modern experiences.
Yeah, it's like we're all connected by this invisible energy, this shared human experience that, transcends time and space.
And within that connection, there's incredible power.
Okay.
The power to support each other.
Yeah.
To learn from each other. And to create a better future together.
It's like we're all part of this grand cosmic dance.
I love that.
Right.
I love that analogy.
And each of us has, a unique step to contribute.
It speaks to the beauty and complexity of life itself, right?
Absolutely.
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
It's not always pretty, but it's always evolving.
Yeah.
Always moving.
It's always changing.
Always full of potential.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired to connect more deeply with Hathor's wisdom, where would you suggest they begin?
I think the blog is a fantastic starting point.
Okay.
It provides a framework for understanding Hathor's 12 aspects and offers some practical suggestions for embodying those principles in daily life.
And maybe taking some time for personal reflection,
Yeah.
Asking themselves what really resonated with them, which aspects of Hathor really call to them, and how can they bring those qualities into their own lives?
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you, what feels authentic, empowering.
Yeah.
Whether it's exploring ancient Egyptian mythology, spending time in nature, or simply paying attention to, the whispers of your own heart.
Okay.
There are countless ways to tap into this ancient wisdom and make it relevant to your modern life.
It's like embarking on this personal journey of discovery, right?
Totally.
Guided by the wisdom of the ancients
Yeah.
and the whispers of your own soul.
And that's a journey worth taking, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So as we close out this first part of our deep dive, we leave you with this final thought. If Hathor were to whisper a message in your ear today, what would it be? What wisdom would she impart that would guide you towards a more harmonious and fulfilling life?
What a beautiful image to ponder.
Yeah.
And what an empowering reminder that, ancient wisdom is always available to us, waiting to be rediscovered and embodied in our modern lives.
Beautiful. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking those deep connections that nourish your soul and inspire you to create a brighter future.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
All right.
For part 2.
Sounds good.
Of our deep dive into Hathor.
Can't wait.
Wow, we covered a lot in that last part.
We did.
It's fascinating to me how each of those aspects of Hathor, even the ones that seem, kind of contradictory on the surface, ultimately point towards this idea of balance and harmony.
It really speaks to Hathor's multifaceted nature, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
She embodies creation and destruction, abundance and loss, joy and sorrow.
Yeah, it's like she's saying embrace it all.
Embrace it all.
Right.
The good, the bad, the messy, the beautiful,
All of it. But what I find really interesting is how this blog takes these ancient concepts and makes them so relevant to our lives today.
Absolutely.
It's not just some academic study or admiring mythology from afar.
Yeah, it's about finding ways to apply these principles to our modern challenges.
Exactly.
How can we actually live this stuff?
So of everything that we talked about, what resonated most with you?
Good question. I keep coming back to Hathor as the Divik goddess.
Okay.
That call to connect with nature, to see the sacred in all living things.
Yeah.
It really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, we live in a world that's so urbanized, so digitized.
Totally.
It's really easy to lose sight of that connection with nature.
It's essential, though.
It is, yeah.
It's about more than just, taking a nature walk or appreciating a pretty sunset.
Right.
It's about recognizing that inherent value and intelligence of nature.
Okay.
Understanding that we're not separate from nature, but a part of it.
And that realization can change everything.
It can.
Right.
It can change how we see the world, how we treat the world.
Our priorities, our values.
Totally.
Even our everyday choices,
It can lead us to a more sustainable way of life.
Yeah.
One that's in harmony with the natural world.
And I think it can also lead to a deeper sense of peace and well-being.
Knowing that we're part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. It's remembering our place in the web of life, right?
Yeah.
Not just as consumers or conquerors, but as participants.
Participants, collaborators, caretakers. Yeah.
I like that.
It's a beautiful way to think about it.
So what about you? Was there a particular aspect that really jumped out at you?
The one that keeps swirling around in my mind is Hathor as the wealth goddess.
Okay.
The way the blog redefines wealth, it's so empowering.
It is, because it's we're reclaiming our power.
Totally.
And saying, my worth isn't tied to my bank account or the things I own.
Exactly.
But that's easier said than done, right?
So much easier said than done, because we're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us otherwise.
We are, yeah.
But I think it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Becoming conscious of the messages we're internalizing, the values that we're upholding, and then making choices that aligned with a different definition of success.
So maybe it's about asking ourselves, what truly brings me joy?
Yes.
What makes me feel fulfilled?
Totally.
And then pursuing those things, even if they don't fit the mold.
Even if they don't fit the conventional mold of what we're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about investing our time and energy in experiences that nourish our souls. Relationships that make us feel loved and connected.
Absolutely.
Activities that bring us a sense of purpose.
It's about recognizing that true wealth is about abundance in all areas of life.
Yeah.
Not just financial.
Not just financial, right?
It's about cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we already have and focusing on building genuine connections, both with ourselves and with others.
And I think that shift in perspective can be so incredibly liberating.
It is.
It's we step off the hamster wheel.
The hamster wheel of more, more, more.
Yeah, of constantly chasing more.
Yeah.
And we choose a different path.
They do.
One that's more aligned with, like, our values and who we really are at our core.
And that's a powerful act.
It is.
It's a choice to define success on our own terms.
Yeah.
To create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling, regardless of what society tells us we should be doing.
So, if Hathor were to visit us today,
Okay.
what message do you think she would share?
That's a great question.
What wisdom would she impart to help us navigate this complex, crazy world?
You know, I think she would remind us of our inherent power.
Okay.
Our capacity for love, for compassion, for creation.
But also our ability to dismantle what no longer serves us?
Yes.
Right.
To challenge injustice.
To fight for what's right.
To fight for what's right. To embrace that necessary destruction that paves the way for new growth.
And to remember that we're not passive bystanders in all of this. We are active participants in this unfolding story of humanity.
Exactly. And that each of us has a unique role to play in creating a more harmonious and sustainable future.
I think she would encourage us to step into our power.
I think so too.
You know.
To embrace our full potential and to use our gifts to make a positive impact on the world.
To do it with joy, with love.
Yes.
With a deep reverence for all of life.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, it's like she's giving us permission to be our full selves, you know,
Exactly.
with all of our complexities or contradictions.
And to recognize that within those complexities, like, that's where our greatest strength lies.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Hathor's wisdom, what's, like, one key takeaway you hope our listeners will carry with them?
You know, I think it's that reminder that we're not alone. Like, we are part of this vast, interconnected web of life, you know, woven together by these threads of ancient wisdom and modern experiences.
Yeah, it's like we're all connected by this, like, invisible energy, right? This shared human experience that transcends time and space.
And within that connection, there's incredible power.
Okay.
The power to support each other, to learn from each other, to create a better future together.
We're all part of this grand cosmic dance.
I love that. That's a great analogy.
And each of us has, like, a unique step to contribute.
It speaks to the beauty and complexity of life itself, right?
Absolutely.
It's not always easy. It's not always pretty.
Yeah.
But it's always evolving. It's always moving. It's always full of potential.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired to connect more deeply with Hathor's wisdom, where would you suggest they begin?
I mean, I think the blog is a fantastic starting point.
Okay.
It provides, like, a really good framework for understanding Hathor's 12 aspects and offers some practical suggestions for embodying those principles in daily life.
And maybe even taking some time for, like, personal reflection.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Like asking themselves, what resonates most deeply with me?
Yeah, which aspects of Hathor really call to me?
Yeah.
And how can I bring those qualities into my own life?
Exactly.
You know, it's about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
What feels authentic, empowering. Whether it's exploring ancient Egyptian mythology.
Right.
Spending time in nature.
Yeah.
Or simply paying attention to, like, the whispers of your own heart.
Okay.
There are countless ways to tap into this ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
And make it relevant to your modern life.
Yeah, it's like embarking on this personal journey of discovery.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Guided by, you know, the wisdom of the ancients and the whispers of your own soul.
Beautiful.
So as we close out this deep dive, we leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
If Hathor were to whisper a message in your ear today, what would it be?
Ooh.
What wisdom would she impart that would guide you towards a more harmonious and fulfilling life?
What a beautiful image to ponder.
Yeah.
And what an empowering reminder that ancient wisdom is always available to us.
Yeah.
Waiting to be rediscovered and embodied in our modern lives.
Beautiful. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep seeking those deep connections.
Yes.
That nourish your soul and inspire you to create a brighter future. Thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure.